In this video, we'll take a look at how we solve using elimination when there are fractions involved. Now, there are two ways we could deal with this question. The first way is by clearing the denominators. So if we decide to multiply by 4, both sides, we'll be left with 4 times 3/4 x minus 4y equals 8. And what did I just do? I distributed the 4. That becomes then, now 4 times 3 is 12, divided by 4 is 3. However, we could cancel off common factors first before multiplying and get 3x. Minus 4y is equal to 8. We'll multiply both sides by 8. And so we're left with 8 times 1/8 x plus 8 times 1/4 y equals 16. Now once again, we'll look for common factors. I'm left with 1x. Common factor of a 4. So we have plus 2y is equal to 16. Now, take a look at both equations. We have a minus and a plus here. If we multiply the second equation by 2, we will set up a situation where we will eliminate the y's. So we'll keep the first equation and write out the second, 2x plus 4y is equal to 32. Collecting our like terms, we have a 5x equals 40. Divide by 5, x is equal to 8. Now we'll use that 8 to find out what y is. 3/4 times 8, subtract y is equal to 2. We have a common factor of 4. So 6 minus y is equal to 2, and y is equal to 4. So we have 8, 4 as our solution. Let's do a check into both equations to see if that's true. So our first equation here, we'll plug in the x value and the y value. To see if it equals 2. And in fact, we have 6 subtract 4 does equal 2. So 1/8 times 8 plus 1/4 times 4, does that equal 2? We have 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, and the answer is yes. So we know that the solution to this system is 8,4. I bet you're wondering what the other method for solving this one is. Well, take a look at the y's here. Can you make a zero pair? What happens when you multiply both sides by 1/4? We get 3/16 x minus 1/4 y is equal to 2/4. Now the second one we'll just rewrite as is, except let's change this 1/8 to 2/16 plus 1/4 y equals 2. Adding up the equations, we get 5/16 x. Here's our zero pair equals Now, 1/2 plus 2 is like 1/2 plus 4/2, which is 5/2. Or 1/2 plus 2 is 2.5, which converts to 5/2. Now can we solve for x? Well, we want x by itself, so let's multiply by the reciprocal. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So we now have x isolated. Now 5 is a common factor, 16/2, and x is equal to 8. Wow, let's use that and plug in. So 3/4 times 8 minus y is equal to 2. And here we have a common factor of 4. So 6 minus y equals 2, and y is equal to 4. And the solution is 8, 4, which is exactly what we just got. Good for you if you saw that. First step, clear the fractions. We're left with 6 times 2/3 x minus 6 times 1/2 y is equal to 24. And that becomes 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 twice. We're left with 2 times 2x, which is 4x. And the second one, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6, 3. We're left with minus 3y is equal to 24. We'll multiply both sides by 4. And we're left with 4 times 1/2 x plus 4 times 1/4 y is equal to 5/2 times 4. And that becomes 2x plus y equals 10. We need to make a zero pair, so let's multiply the second equation by 3, and the second one becomes 6x plus 3y is equal to 30. Add up both equations, collecting like terms, we have 10x and a 0y on the left side and a 54 on the right. Divide by 10. So x is equal to 54 over 10, which can be reduced. 2 goes into both of those. We have 5, and half of 50, 25, half of 4 is 2, so 27. So we have 27/5 for the x value. We'll plug in 27/5 to find out what y is. Common factor of 3, so we have 18/5. Subtract 1/2 y is equal to 4. We have 2 terms on the left and 1 term on the right. So probably the best option here would be adding 1/2 y to both sides. And what happens is we have 1/2 y plus 4, and we'll subtract 4 both sides. So 1/2 y on one side and 18/5 subtract 4. But we'll write a common denominator right off the bat, 20/5. So we have minus 2/5 is equal to 1/2 y. We need to isolate the y, so we'll multiply by 2 both sides. And we are left with negative 4/5 is equal to y. Our solution then is 27/5, comma, negative 4/5. Let's check that answer. So 1/2 times 27/5 plus 1/4 times negative 4/5. Does that equal 5/2? So we have 27/10 minus 1/5. Does that equal 5/2? We need a common denominator. Times 2. Does that equal 5/2? So 25/10. Does that equal 5/2? Common factor, we have 5/2. Does in fact equal 5/2. Last example, we'll multiply both sides by 3. So we have 3x divided by 3 plus 3 times 5 is equal to 2/3 y times 3. X plus 15 is equal to 2y. And rearranging the terms, we'll put the y's on the left side, so minus 2y equals negative 15. The second equation, we'll multiply both sides by 6. So we have 6 times 1/2 x plus 6 times 1/3 y equals 1/3 times 6 to result in 3x plus 2y is equal to 2. It's always nice when we find a zero pair right off the bat. So collecting our like terms gives us 4x equals, now negative 15 plus 2 is negative 13. Although it was easy, turns out it's not that easy. Negative 13 over 4. Let's find out what y is then. We'll take that value for x, plug it in, and we're left with negative 13 over 12 plus 5, which we know we're going to need a common denominator, so let's just put it there, and it would be 60 equals 2/3 y. Numerator results in positive 47. We want the y by itself, so we'll times. So y is equal to, 3 is a common factor, 47/8. We have a solution then of negative 13/4, comma 47/8. And we better check it. We'll check our answer then using the second equation, 1/2 times 13/4 plus 1/3 times 47/8. Does that equal 1/3? Negative 13/8 plus 47/24. Does that equal 1/3? Common denominator is a 24. What did we multiply the 8 by to get 24? It was times 3. So we need to do that to the top. Negative 39. And we had 47. Does that equal 1/3? So we have a positive 8/24. Does that equal 1/3? And by now you're smiling. So 8 goes into both. 1/3 does in fact equal 1/3. And we could check in the first equation as well, but this should be sufficient. Good job.